Welcome back to Take Action News, everybody. David Shuster here, the weekend of April 20th. So glad to have you with us. This was an amazing week in the news, and particularly frustrating to a lot of folks who believe that there's some common sense gun regulations that we should be having in this country. The United States Senate took up a key measure. It was a bipartisan measure from Republican Senator Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. It would have imposed background checks on most, not all, but most gun transactions. It would have also guaranteed something that the right was concerned about. There would be no federal gun registry. And yet, the NRA lied about that. Enough Republicans got scared or kowtowed to the NRA, and this was how the vote went down, with Joe Biden sitting in the chair in the United States Senate.
The order in the Senate. The vote. On this vote, the yeas are 54, the nays are 46. Under the previous order requiring 60 votes for the adoption of this amendment, the amendment is not agreed to.
Again, the Senate fell six votes short of being able to overcome Republican filibuster. There were some key Democrats who went with the Republicans. Here to talk about that, Cliff Schachter, our own WEAC Radio's Cliff Schachter. Cliff, thanks for being part of the program.
My pleasure, David. How are you, man?
Good. So, Cliff, what happens to folks like Arkansas's Senator Pryor or Senator Begich from Alaska? I mean, what's the view in the progressive movement now about them joining the Republicans and blocking this?
Well, I mean, frankly, it's pretty simple. They're cowards. They've shown themselves to be cowards, and they still don't seem to understand the calculation. Apparently they didn't pay attention in 2010. They don't understand what happens when your base gets angry and there's important issues to your base that you ignore. They ignore this at their peril. And they don't understand that the financial calculation has changed. Gabby Gifford's group, Americans for Responsible Solutions, has raised all sorts of money now and made it very clear in her very eloquent New York Times op-ed that she's going to be targeting these terrible senators, including the Democrats and the Republicans. I've done work with Mayors Against Illegal Guns as a consultant. Mayor Bloomberg has made pretty clear, putting a bunch of his money into races recently, and people have watched him politically. He doesn't like to lose. And he's said, let's wait till 2014, and he's going to be active. So these guys, and let's go beyond that. MoveOn.org sent out an email to all their members saying they will never support any of these four again in any way. DFA called them all traitors. That's Democracy for America, which is Howard Dean's group, and you can go on and on. I don't know who they think they're pleasing. I'm not sure who they think their base is, but Mary Landrieu and Kay Hagan in states like Louisiana, which has the highest rate of gun ownership, and North Carolina, Gene Shaheen in New Hampshire, looked at things and made the right decisions. And they should be applauded for that, while these others are really ignored, because the truth is there's a lot of Democrats in swing states up for re-election. Are you going to waste your time and your money on someone like Mark Pryor? Bill Daley, the former Obama chief of staff, wrote an op-ed on Heitkamp saying, that just came out in the Washington Post, saying he'd like his money back, and he wouldn't support any of these people, and he'd tell his friends not to, because they're going to all show up in places like New York and Chicago and Los Angeles that have higher gun violence due to gun laws in states like theirs, because the guns cross lines. Chicago has the gun violence it has because of the gun laws in Indiana, in Washington, D.C., because of the laws in Virginia. And so I think people should learn to forget about these guys. There's some really good senators. Gene Shaheen voted right on every single one of those votes the other day. Get her back. Protect her. Don't waste your time on Mark Pryor.